Okay, good morning, guys. I'm squinting a little bit because of the sun this morning. All right, so for this diary entry, it's called "It Costs the Same Here," and some people wondered why I call it "It Costs the Same Here." For some, it's very obvious. For others, not so obvious. Okay, so I got the idea for "It Costs the Same Here" when in Britain, in London, London, and I smoke cigarettes, right? And if you look on the web at prices in London, it's in pounds. You know that. You might know that. And everything is so like half price. It's like if it's $4, $4 American, it'll be £2, right? If it's $6 American, it'll be £3, right? Right? But, but, but get this. Once you're there, like that's the exchange rate. But once you're there, and I smoke cigarettes, so once I was there, right? At the time, a pack of cigarettes cost $8, right? Back home. So once I was there, I thought a pack of cigarettes would cost £4. It cost £8. Yeah. So let me backtrack. Let me repeat that. Back home, before I went to London, right? A pack of cigarettes to me cost $8, and I was smoking right at the time. And so I checked the exchange rate, right? And $8 is £4. So I thought that prices would be half, right? That was how I was doing my budgeting, because I was budgeting, right, for the trip. So when I got there, and I went to buy a pack of cigarettes, it was actually £8. So $8 and £8. So and with the exchange rate, that £8 meant $16. You know what I'm saying? So it costs the same there. You think, with the American dollar or the Canadian dollar, and in some other places with the exchange rate, you think it will be cheap. And some you might be surprised, it's not cheap. It's actually even more expensive with how'd you like those apples, right? So I was budgeting, right, for my trip before I went. And so I was looking at exchange rate, right? And these things like cigarettes and stuff, it's hard really to get to know the prices, because what you find out are the prices for restaurants, prices for hotels, but you don't find out prices for like you know junk food or snacks or cigarettes. So when I was there, I said, "Oh, a pack of cigarettes, with exchange rate must be like, you know, at the time $8 must be £4. It was actually £8." So like it's like a pack of cigarettes actually cost me $16. So I call it cost the same there. It means it's just as expensive to live, right? So I gotta wonder how some people live over there, but apparently they get paid in pounds. So you know what I mean? I mean, we're talking about like sometimes they might talk about like how beer might be $1 and stuff like that, but that's in sort of like the parts of Europe that's not very rich, not really first world, right? But in parts of Europe where it is the first world, like Britain or those Norway or Germany and stuff, everything is practically the same. And with the exchange rate, it might even be more expensive, right? So $8 per pack of cigarettes in Canada turns out to be £8 in London, which is actually $16. So that's where I got the idea for it costs the same. So you just can't get away with like being too smart. You can't be too smart. And so that touches upon like NAFTA and trade. You can't be too smart because, and listen to this, and you can even verify it, right? The current problem with a lot of trade, a lot of negotiation, is that some people, right? The problem lies with some people. They negotiate like it was eBay. Like they negotiate as if it's an auction. You understand? as if, like, say, commodities were collector's items, were like fine pieces of art. Like, yeah, they negotiate as if it was an auction. Like, you would think, like, pigs and cattle and crops are an auction, right? But it's gone to be like eBay, like retail auction, like Sotheby's auction, as if everybody's negotiating for like Van Goghs and Rembrandts. You understand? I mean, there's a limit to what wheat, right, is, and there's a limit to oil and stuff, right? But everybody, and even in real estate in Toronto, see how my hand's glowing because of the sun, but there's a limit to this type of like auction mentality, right? It's not eBay. Like, you don't put it up and you wait for the highest bidder, right? There's just this type of stuff, right? New stuff, like, going. Can you imagine going to the mall and they won't sell it to you until they feel like they got the highest bidder? It's more like trade nowadays. There are some that are like, if you go to the mall, that's the price, right? Whether you can afford it or not. If you can't afford it, come back when you got more money. And then there are some people who is like, if you go to the mall, I won't sell it to you until I get the best offer. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. And you verify this. I swear to God, it is true. People are treating sort of like retail, wholesale prices like it was an eBay auction. They won't sell it to you until they get the best price. Like as if these items were like Van Goghs and Rembrandts and Monets. It's crazy. And the same goes for real estate. The same goes for even people like me, like talent, what they call the talent gap, I don't sing and dance, but talent, like social media and digital marketing and all that stuff, they are waiting, but it's sort of auction now. They're waiting for somebody with an MBA who will accept $20,000 a year less. They're waiting for somebody, with 20 years experience who will work for the same rate as an intern. It's crazy, right? So everybody's approaching it. One group is approaching like prices are like an eBay auction. The other groups approach like it's retail. It's retail. We set the price based on like, costs and then markups, right? So that's the problem with trade nowadays, right? It's not like you would think that's a fair price and I need it, so I'll buy it, like sort of like retail, buy a car or something, right? But some people are like, not only is fair price, they want that auction action, that bidding war. So it's that's why everything's sort of like a standstill, right? All right, so that's one problem, and then what else? I was going to mention something else. Should I try to remember what it was? So there's that. Oh yeah, and then there's sort of like there's another thing about it costs the same thing here, and why trade might stand still? Why America, is reverting back to tariffs that it had a while ago, and why other countries are doing the same thing. It's like, okay, for each person, right? Each person might cost the government like $1, right? Let's just take that. Let's start with like a starting line, right? If it costs the American government $1 per person for roads and schools and stuff, and it costs China like 50 cents a person, right? For roads and schools and hospitals and police and stuff like that, right? If you add it up, it's like 300 million people. 300 million people times $1 is like, so we get like $300 million, right? And then in China, it's like 1 billion people, and it costs them 50 cents a person. Not that they're better, it's just like they're actually not richer. It costs them 50 cents a person. They might have like, they got 1 billion people. It might seem like they have more money. It might seem like they end up with $500 million, right? And so here's China and US sitting at a table, and US is like, we spent $1 per person, per American, for roads, police, healthcare, all that stuff, right? Housing. And so we have $300 million. And China's like, we spent 50 cents per person, right? They're not bragging. They're just like, we have to do this for our people. We spend 50 cents a person for police, healthcare, housing, right? And we have $500 million, right? It seems like, well, you have more money than us. It's like, no, we don't have more money than you. Per person, we actually spend less than you. I mean, per person, we can only spend less than you. We wish we could spend $1 per person. Actually, we want to spend $1 per person, just like you guys. And then there's another country, maybe smaller, spends maybe $3 a person, right? And it comes out to maybe $100 million because it's a small country, right? And so the small country says, we only have $100 million. But America and China is looking at it and say, but that means you get to spend $3 per person. You spend $3 per person on roads, on housing, on telecom, right? On welfare. You get to spend $3 per person. Your country is actually very luxurious, right? Where here, I wish I can spend $3 per person. America's like, yeah, we wish too, but all we can afford is $1 per person. China's like, all we can afford is 50 cents a person. And this small country's like, well, don't blame us for spending $3 per person. Okay, we don't. But at the same time, you got to realize you're spending $3 per person. You're a very lucky country. And just because you're small and you only have 100 million to spend per person, 100 million to spend, but it translates to $3 per person. Us, we're very big. It seems like we have a lot of money. It translates to 50 cents per person. America's like, yes, we seem very big too, but it translates to $1 per person. You understand? That's the crux of trade. And that's why tariffs are going to go up. Some country per person, they spend a lot of money. They're very luxurious, very lucky. They got to know that.